So we need to sort all that out. Walls, so you can tell the difference when you bang on one of these. Oh yes. Yeah. They are pink, so don't go too mad with them. Don't be lazy, do it. It takes seconds and it's a better job, and you will know that that's not coming out unless somebody's yanked at it. Are we becoming lazy as Sparkies? We may have a problem. Yo, morning. Right, today is a second fix kind of day. So I'm back at our big build job and it's time to get on. We start second fixing some of the rooms out because effectively the clients have, I'm going to say moved out. When I say moved out, they're living in the garden. I know, crazy isn't it? So I'm going to be getting on with second fixing 2 of the rooms upstairs. I've got downlights to do. There is some data stuff, which is why I've just gone out to the van, grab my data box and try and pump out as much of this as I possibly can. Right, let's get inside. So we have got this room. This room's all been skimmed out now, and the one opposite. Stick you on here. So I've got 5 downlights to go in this room. Obviously we've got no markings, there's no holes drilled out. So we need to sort all that out. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 double sockets to do, light switch and some data to do. So we have got most of the stuff. I'm just waiting for a couple of plates to come in, being honest with you guys. So hopefully with a bit of luck, we can rattle that through. So let's just go through all of the kit that we're going to be installing today. So socket wise, we're going to be using the Hager sockets, because the reason why we like using these is a little bit more of a classier finish with a rounded edge. Never really let me down either. It's very, very unlikely that we have anything ever go wrong with them, which is great. The only thing we ever have wrong with them is generally because of actual damage caused by other people. So they're going in. We've also going to be using these downlights, which was pretty much standard throughout this whole house, which are Bright Source. They're really good lights. They are selectable between 8 watts, 10 watts, cool white daylight, warm white, and there's another one. I can't remember what the other one is, but either way. They come with all the bezels as well. So I've been using them for a long, long time. Really great lights, and it will be mega, mega bright in here. So kit wise, so obviously you can see from the walls, we are still fairly wet on here because we've done a lot of traditional plastering. So for those of you who don't know what it is, I can actually show you here. So traditional plastering, so in a normal new build, you will see stuff like this, where you've got plasterboard on the walls. This house has gone above and beyond as usual, and what behind here is actually 12.5mm ply as well, and then you've got your plasterboard on top, fully insulated, even though these are internal walls, so you can tell the difference when you bang on one of these to what you would do in your, standard stud walls. They are solid and not going anywhere. So that is a traditional, well, a high spec traditional, what you'd see of a new standard. And then over here, these walls on here and here, external ones, you'll notice that they are pink. And that is not because we like the colour pink here at the GHC. It is because these are what we would call a wet plastered wall. So it's traditional, using bonding, a bonding coat that all goes on. And then the lads have put all this pink sort of PVA style adhesive to help it all go off. I'm not sure, an SPR or something, I don't know. Plastering's not my job, so I'm just telling you, that's what it is. Traditional, non-traditional. And yeah, so let's get on with some actual Sparky stuff. Okay, so that one's just smashed out, nice and straightforward. That's a dry liner box, but this one on here, so this is more of your, like I say, again, a traditional one. So I'm going to show you how I go about cleaning all that out. So in here you can see the depth of the plaster with the bonding and all the rest of it. So you've got a good mix on there. Usually, like I said, the lads normally clean these out and they are pretty decent in fairness. It's just that they probably got delayed with the work and all the rest of it. But hey ho, it is not a problem I've seen a million times worse. So get a sharp knife, use that, gauge that on the side of the box, and just gently carve down until you get flat, like so. I'm just trying to sit you on here, making sure you don't cut your cables, because that would be a problem. Now, you may have noticed on the other socket that I've just done that I didn't use any earth sleeving. So for those of you who don't know what earth sleeving is, I'll go and get some. So that is earth sleeving, but for the cables in this house, I'd say 99% of them actually are pre-sleeved because they are Earthshore cables. So they come pre-sleeved with the earthing already in there, which does make second fix an absolute dream. So anyway, let's get back into cleaning that out. So I'll continue to carve this out. And get yourself a decorator's brush that you pinch from one of the decorators when he's not looking. You can always pop that back in his bag. I'm sure he'll be happy with that. Clean all the box out and you're good to go. So I'll show you the inside of this so you can see it up close and personal. The old Earthshore cable at its best. So there you have it, pre-sleeved, good to go, saves time and money, and it is a better product. The good thing I like about the cable as well is the actual outer sheathing as well is actually a little bit thicker, so it's a bit more like the old traditional twin and earth that you used to get back in the old 90s and 80s, where you didn't have to look at it and the outer sheathing just disintegrated. It's a much better cable, in my eyes anyway. Slap that socket on. When it comes to leveling the sockets, you'll always have on a traditional knockout box one side that's fixed and one's an adjustment depending on which way you've fitted the back box. Now, like I said to the client, there's no point in me going too mad about all these because these have all got to come back off for all the painting. But it's always a good little practice to sort of get at least somewhere near. So making sure it's pretty much on the money. Don't over tighten it when it's got plaster that's fairly wet, because what will happen then is that this will actually dig into the line and it's not a great look. But for me, I always make sure I keep all my screws horizontal. Some people might go vertical, other people just don't give a monkeys and have them any old way. But for me, the reason I do it, there's two reasons why I do it. One, because I think it just shows that you care about your job. And two, that you know that if somebody else has gone in there and messed about with it, you can sort it out, which is always a benefit in my eyes. So that's two down. We'll get on with these two, we'll rattle these two out, and then we'll jump on with this data. So we're now on to sorting out the RJ45 stuff, and you're gonna need a few bits of kit to make that happen. So this is the RJ45 socket that we're using. It's a Cat 6 specific on there. You're also going to need a punch down tool, and you're going to need what I would call is a naffy screwdriver that you've absolutely butchered for this purpose. Now with this, if you've seen the previous video where I'm convinced this homeowner is actually a spy, we're now starting to look at some of the network. Now he's going to sort out all the rack and all the rest of it down in the network room. I'm just going to be doing the end connections in here, and then we're all sorted. So labeling is important. So in here, we've now marked up, you might be able to just about see on there, I've just put 1 and 2 on here. The client's going to have his own labeling system for him, what suits him. But for now, he knows what this bedroom is going to be called, and I just need to number up 1 and 2 and obviously the corresponding parts for here. So, got the faceplate on, faceplate is on, we're all sort of fairly leveled up as where they need to be. And now we're going to start actually fitting this. So, little top tip, get yourself a cable stripper that will make life a lot easier. But what I would say is don't peel the cables back too far. I know you've got limited access because it is a 25mm back box, but with the depth of the plaster, actually more like 35mm, somewhere around that side, just in case it all goes horribly wrong. But let's get in, have a little bit of a closer look, and start fitting. So what I tend to do is actually write on the back of these so we know exactly what it is. So on here, you've got a little window that you can put in, obviously whatever the client wants to actually call it eventually, but I'll just label it up 1, and obviously the other one 2. Doesn't need to be any more jazzy than that. So inside here, if you haven't ever peeled off any Cat 6, Cat 5 before, anything like that, then what you'll have is twisted pairs like this, and you'll have a separator, which I'm sure your IT experts will tell me that this has got a specific name. So you're not supposed to call it that, you're supposed to call it something else. But that's fine, but for me, separator it is. And then what I tend to do is untwist it a tiny bit. This is where somebody else showed me this actually, and I'm just sharing it with you guys if you haven't seen it. Pull it straight and it untwists them all. Makes life a hell of a lot quicker, a lot simpler. And like I say, on this channel, we will not gatekeep anything. Everything will be shared. So on that note, if you haven't yet subscribed, make sure you do. If this is a little tip for you and you want more tips like this, then make sure you subscribe to the channel. Link's in the corner. Turn your notifications on, where we put a main video up every single week, one of the big videos, and then every day we'll put little shorts up of part of the jobs that we're completing. Okay, go on, do it now, I'll wait. Thank you, much appreciated. Right, let's get back to it. So this will come with a little zip tie as well. So what I tend to do is start off with this, put this in place, just because it makes it life a little bit easier, I find, for me. The zip ties that are sent with these aren't of the best quality, all right? So don't go too mad with them, because they'll snap. So trim that off, and then you'll see inside here, let's get the other one, a bit of a closer view. It essentially tells you what each cable needs to go into. So you've got terminal 2 is solid orange, terminal 1 is orange and white, and so on and so on. So hopefully you can see that good enough, and that is what I'm going to use the punch down tool for right now. So hopefully my big fat head doesn't get in the way. And there you see, as you're putting it in, it cuts the excess off, compresses that in properly, and completes the job. Now don't make these too tight, I would say, because it will probably make your life a little bit more awkward as you move around to the other side. That's one side done, the other side ready to be going, and then it's just a case of getting them back into the box. So I just thought I'd share this little tip for you, right? So if you are an apprentice learning, coming into the adult learner, coming into the trade, like I say, try not to gatekeep absolutely anything. Try and help you guys out as much as you possibly can, because ultimately that's what the channel's all about. So this is the end of a radial circuit, right? So we've got one cable here, or if it was, let's say it was just a spur or something, but it's the end of the radial. So if you'll notice here that I've doubled over the ends. So doubling over the ends of the actual sockets, the wires themselves, gives me a much bigger surface area. So you'll notice inside these sockets, right, you've got quite a large opening for, obviously, for your terminals, right? So if you have got a single like that on the end, there's a lot of room for that to go round. And obviously as you tighten the screw up, sometimes you might find that it just pushes the wire to the side of the actual socket itself. Depends on what sort of quality of socket you're using as well. That does make a big difference, right? Whereas if you've doubled that up, that's in there. As that screws down, that's a much greater surface area for that to actually lock into. So I'll try and tighten it up and try and show you. Ignore the fact that I was demonstrating in the live. I know what you guys will do, some of you watching. So if you look, hopefully you can just about see that in there. So that's the doubled over version, okay? So you've got a much greater surface area. And watch this, this is gonna blow your head, some of you. Oh my God. Whereas we just do that with the single, hopefully you can see that, all right? You've got much more chance of not having a greater contact area when you've just used a single as opposed to a doubled over end. Now, if it's a ring or it's a continuation of the radial, then fine. You can use, you know, you don't have to double them up there because you've got two ends, but depends really what you'd want to do. But yeah, a little top tip for you, and hopefully that helps somebody out. And if it does, winner. Okay, so sockets are all done. The network is done. So we've now got the light switch to sort out. So let's run through that. How we're going to do it, obviously I haven't cut in the downlights yet. That's next on the agenda. So this is the end of the run. So the reason why I know that is because of this. Because in here, instead of having just one single light cable that comes down, which you might find on your property if you're looking at it, if it's a single, it means that you've just got a switch line in here. And so we indicate ours with a little nick in it like that. So that is our switch output. And this is a loop feed. Now, if this wasn't the end of the run, I'd have another loop that goes out again. So you'll have 3 cables in here. Is a more traditional standard, what is today's standard. So if you're going to new build, anything like that, you go to work on site, that is exactly how it will be. Because the theory behind it is that you're going to spend less time with hands in the air doing all the loop feed, because a lot of the property, they will have just 6-inch pendant drops and things like that. But obviously here in downlights especially, it's better to bring all your loop feeds down to the switch, which is just there. So it does make life a lot easier. So you're spending less time doing this, more time doing this, which obviously it just increases the, you know, the chance of just productivity and all the rest of it, and you don't have fatigue and all the rest of it. So the downside of doing it this way is obviously if you're moving forward and you want to add an additional light with its own independent switching and stuff, it just makes things a little bit more complex. But, you know, the pros and cons, this is definitely the best way of doing it. So here we're going to get into actually what we're going to use. So we've got another single light switch in here because we're just going to do the one light switch will turn on all 5 of the downlights as expected. So with the Hager switches, you have got inside here, you've got a terminal for the neutral, so your neutral loop, so you can bring those to here. I don't ever do that, but you can do, there's nothing wrong with doing it that way. I personally don't ever do it. We always use Wago connectors. So because it is so we're gonna use these Wagos here, the 221s, I think they are. Yeah, 221s. Because it's a plastic enclosure, here you do not need to, well, you've got no way of earthing it because it's plastic anyway. And also, because the actual light fitting itself is plastic, there's nowhere to earth that. Whereas if this was a metal fitting, you'll instead of bringing your earth from here to a terminal, you go straight away into the back of the light switch. But let's get that peeled back and I'll show you how I go about labeling everything up. Okay, so we've got a few indicators here. So I've drawn on, so switch live. Live is my loop feed as such. And also I like to put on a little bit of sleeving just in case somebody hasn't seen that even. And that way it just shows me that that is my switch output. So we've continued the neutral path for there, and also the earthing path is continued. And you'll notice once again, double over the ends, especially in light fittings and light switches, because you will really struggle to get a good connection. And how many times have you been to light switches and they've fell out, and you'd move the casing back and they fell out, and that is exactly why. Don't be lazy, do it. It takes seconds and it's a better job, and you will know that that's not coming out unless somebody's yanked at it, like the decorators. So on here, hopefully you can see, so our switch line goes into L1, and our common is our permanent live. On this is a one-way lighting switch. Sometimes these, with the lighting, the switches, I don't know why, but sometimes they only put like a shorter screw in. So sometimes they don't catch on dry liners because they're set a little bit further back. But hopefully it should just about catch, but no, as expected, it doesn't catch. So we're gonna have to get some different ones. I'll have one more that will go, but I don't think that's gonna catch. No, right, new screws please. Okay, so new screws fitted, light switch back on. So now we're gonna have to start finding the map, and yeah, fingers crossed they're all in the right place, and we're gonna get these downlights all drilled out. And yeah, hopefully all the cables have been put exactly where I want them. Everything's right, and yeah, I look like an absolute ledge. We may have a problem. Right, so we may have an absolute, which could potentially turn into be quite a big problem. So you see this bit here? So above here, we've obviously got a loft conversion that's going on. So we've had to batten down, there's all sorts of stuff, and the same on a lot of the extensions and stuff we're having to batten down. Now, that means we've got a shallow void up there, in between the two. There's a little shallow void, because also in the loft, which you'll see in later videos, so like I say, make sure you subscribe to all that, there is a vapor barrier that we cannot pierce. So it has gonna now throw up. So the issue that I've got is this section here is too big to try and get in here easily. So I'm gonna have to come up with another plan. Whether that means I'm gonna look at different manufacturers for these lights, then maybe. So as it stands, it's gonna be an issue. Okay, so I've been off to the wholesaler and I'm hopefully that these might end up saving the day. So these are the JCC V50s. So hopefully, there doesn't seem to be much in it in the sense of the driver side of things. So let's get one fitted and let's see, who knows. So I've left the other one in place. I've just fitted the driver and we're gonna find out together. So I hope these work. Oh yes. Yeah. Oh my God, I'm so chuffed. Right, I'm not gonna push all them all the way up because obviously the decorating side of things, but what a relief. Yeah, so it means that really we're gonna have to use those up on this floor and the next floor. It's a shame, but at least we've got a solution. So thanks to JCC sorting that out. So that was an absolute stress over. So got to get the rest of these downlights in now, get these ones cut in, replace that one. I have got a load of bezels for them, but I'm not going to put them on because these don't come with the bezels, obviously these JCC ones. So I'll ask the client exactly what they do want on the finished product, but I imagine they're white anyway because the ceilings are all going to be white. So right, let's get that one swapped out. So this room is all second fix now, ready to go. Honestly, really chuffed with them downlights in fairness, because that has saved my bacon, should I say. So this room's all done. Don't need to do anything else in here. Like I said, the bezels and all the rest of it. And you may be wondering why I've not pushed the downlights all the way up. And that is all just to do with decorating, basically. So I always ask the clients, not just this one, but all clients, of whether they want me to push them all the way up. Some do, some don't. Most of the time, they don't want them pushed up because they don't, although these are all plug and play, like I say, because you just remove them, most of the customers don't, they just paint it like that. You can see there's obviously a dust ring and all the rest of it. Now, if this was a painted room, I'd have used the laser level, but it just takes a little bit longer, especially when you've got Lou here and Clay's up in the loft doing some insulating. It's just faster for me, just to go, Lou, just jump on the other end of the string line and I can just ping them through. Being honest, in the honesty of the world, nearly made a boo-boo on the old downlights. Because I measured 740 off that wall, it meant that it pushed off that way, and I just stood back just for a second and nearly drilled it. And I thought, actually, I'm not quite sure, that doesn't quite seem right. So then I went back to measuring off the centre gaps from the first one to that one, which I knew was right, and then jumped back over and luckily enough, I sorted that out. And that's because for some reason I must have been distracted, and on the map here that was already on the wall, for some reason I didn't write it on. So anyway, what I'm going to do now is get the downlights done in the hallway, because there's loads of stuff to move in that bedroom. Didn't quite realise how much stuff is in there. In fairness, I can just show you, it's probably just as easy. One thing I would say, customers are unreal with the tea, so can't thank them enough for that. So in here, the lads have been using this as a little bit of a storeroom. So we've got windows in here, and there's the chaser and all sorts of stuff, and plastering. So I'm only going to have to do certain amounts anyway in here without, I don't want to risk any damage, because that would get expensive. So in here, we're gonna get on with all the downlights now, get those cut in. Like I say, can't do any of the sockets and stuff yet because we're not on the plastering stage, but the downlights I can do. So another 4 downlights done and dusted now. Don't need to do any more in there. So like I say, this room is all complete. There's not a lot we can do, but how else do you say hello, an electrician's been working here other than this? Obviously, I'm gonna clean it by the end of today. So then we're back into this room now. So this is the room, obviously, with all the storage stuff. So we have got, there's a socket down in that corner behind all that, the glazing stuff. We've got socket and data down there to do. And then we've got just a socket just down in this bit. Down here, we've got a socket just there. And then light switch. So this is what I was saying before about the light switches having, so I knew that was the end of the run. So if you notice, this has got 3 cables in it. So one of them will be a switch live and the other ones will be 2 loops. So loop feeding, meaning so it's looped in and out. So, or you might say permanent feed or something like that, but that's what I was taught, so it's loop feed. That's why I always just do it that way. This is nothing to do with me. This is all old, if you can see that properly. That is all obsolete now, it's all gone, because all this is all being completely rewired. So yeah, so what I think I'm gonna do now is get that stuff sorted, that one sorted, and then we'll have to shift that lot across. So yeah, so getting there now, but obviously it's just, with having to go off to the wholesaler and then coming back, obviously it just eats in a bit of time. But yeah, hey ho, it is what it is. So yeah, so that's the important thing of having a good network of suppliers, because without that, you are going to be absolutely knackered. So we'd have been, so where this job is now, it's a 40-minute journey from my house to here. So obviously if you used an independent, which is nothing wrong with an independent at all, and I strongly advise that you do keep those independents going, but don't just rely on one for that reason, because obviously here I've had to, let's say, go and sort those out. So. But yeah, there's nothing wrong with the, so for those of you who might be wondering why I don't use the JCC stuff as a standard, it's just that my wholesaler doesn't generally stock that many of them. And the Bright Source ones, I've been using those for years and I've never had any problems with them and all the rest of it, they've been great. Let me know if you've used them before, and if you have, or you use them and you never use them again, or, but it'd be interesting to know what you guys use as downlights, because like I say, I remember ages ago, I think I used some JCC ones and they were still in the, like the screw type terminals, which was very, very old school, but we are talking a long time ago now, like, so yeah, push fit is definitely the way. Are we becoming lazy as Sparkies? Are we becoming lazy? I know other tradies, if you are watching this and you're another trader, you go, yes, you are. You're a load of princesses. But hey, it's not my fault you chose the wrong trade, is it? No, I'm joking. I'm joking. We're all important in our own little ways. All right. So I get these sockets mounted up. So yeah, busy old day today. Very, very busy. Right, 2 minutes. Right, so double sockets on, and now sorted out the network stuff. So on these RJ45s, so like I said, I've just numbered them up, number 2, number 1, also onto the cables themselves, and then we just got to dress those in. They're pretty straightforward as a module, in fairness. Nice and straightforward, and then like I said, on these bits here, the customer can label them up to whatever he wants, because he might have, different categories that he wants, because the network, the comms room is literally the side of this room. Now, obviously there's a lot of glass, a lot of bits and bobs to move, so chances are I'm not going to be doing that today, because obviously having to go off, it's zapped a lot of my time. So I've just got that last socket to do over there, and then that's pretty much it. So if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, make sure you do. If you've learned one little thing or enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn notifications on, and we shall see you next Tuesday. I know this goes against the grain. Shouldn't be doing this. I know. This is practically illegal. Oh, I know. It's just making me feel physically sick. I'm going against the Sparky code. The code of conduct. We should not be behaving like this. Hey. I'm just ashamed. Firstly, I feel like a public apology is needed for all the Sparkies out there that I've let down by showing the people that we clean up. All right, I apologise. It won't happen again. I'll never be caught back on camera with a brush or a hoover in my hand. I hang my head in shame.